The president is on the South Lawn. He just left a little while ago for Andrews Air Force Base, where he's headed down to Florida to spend the weekend. And now
NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very bad.
On Denmark and several other European countries, unless there's a deal to purchase.
Greenland's not for sale!
It comes as thousands march.
Earlier today, we heard from the sheriff in Osceola County.
We get that person notified, we'll make their names available, and we'll also tell you where they're from.
What happens if the world you're living in doesn't have enough time left to fix its mistakes? When the ice up north turns into a hot spot for fighting over, when gunshots ring out in quiet neighborhoods, 2026 isn't just a number on the calendar anymore. It's that uneasy feeling creeping in every single day. Protests explode, alliances break apart, economies get turned into weapons, violence hides for a while, then suddenly shows its face. Everything comes at you fast, too fast for people to really understand what they're seeing. Where do we stand in all of this chain of events? Are we really safe? Before we go any deeper, let's just pause for a second. And if you can, maybe leave a prayer in the comments for all of us in this shaky time. And now, let's get started right away with the first event. The storm of protests in the Arctic. People chant loudly, "Greenland is not for sale." Strong winds blow, snow whips across faces, flags shake in the bone-chilling cold. Against the white backdrop of Arctic ice and snow, one chant keeps ringing out, "Greenland is not for sale." Watching on screen, we're not just hearing about this, we're seeing a quiet land suddenly become the center of a worldwide showdown. Greenland is the world's largest island, covering about 836,330 square miles, sitting between the North Atlantic and the Arctic Ocean. The capital, Nuuk, has only around 56,000 people, mostly Inuit, but the island's location gives it huge global importance. Greenland is an autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark, where folks are used to free education, universal health care, and a steady welfare system they don't want to give up. Tensions started when ideas about buying or transferring control of Greenland came up. This icy place isn't just snow and rock. It holds huge deposits of rare earth minerals needed for tech and defense. Melting ice in the Arctic is also opening new shipping routes, cutting thousands of miles between Asia and Europe, making Greenland a key spot for military and economic reasons. According to Fox News, protests broke out at the same time in Greenland and Denmark, right after those proposals got mentioned. In Nuuk, thousands braved temperatures below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, marching down main streets with Greenland flags, chanting in Kalaallisut to affirm their sovereignty. The crowd moved toward the consulate area, standing close together in the freezing wind, making it clear they won't back down. In Copenhagen, about 2,200 miles away, even bigger crowds gathered in front of the U.S. Embassy with strong, no-nonsense messages of opposition. Surveys in Greenland show around 85% of people are against any change to the island's sovereignty. The reason is simple. Losing control could mean losing the whole social foundation that supported their communities for generations. In the crowds, traditional songs rise up, not for show, but to declare their identity and deep tie to this land. That scene brings to mind the story in 1 Kings 21-1-3, when Naboth refused to hand over his ancestors' vineyard to King Ahab, no matter the high price offered. "I will not give you my ancestral inheritance." In the Bible, land isn't just property, it's a trust handed down, something money or power can't buy. Today, in Greenland, the land is seen as something worth protecting at all costs, like the promise in Exodus 3-8, where God says, "I have come down to rescue them and bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land." When a place gets targeted for its riches, the natural response from those living there is to stand guard and not compromise. Some say this is just another political fight that'll fade like others before. But in a world already full of tension, the warning in Matthew 24-6 hits home. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. see that you are not alarmed. What's happening shows the strain isn't staying in meeting rooms anymore. It's spilling out onto the streets. The protest storm in Greenland isn't just a quick reaction. It's a sign that land, resources, and sovereignty are becoming new flashpoints in today's world. And if this is only the beginning, how long can this icy place hold strong when bigger waves from the great powers really start crashing in? Tariff threat, a sword hanging over Europe, tensions rising between countries. Those eye-catching headlines and hot news reports have been coming fast and heavy the last few days. A statement out of Washington rocked European markets. The possibility of high tariffs, from double-digit percentages up to nearly 25% of the value of goods, aimed at a group of allied nations. At the same time, political centers in Brussels, Paris, and Copenhagen reacted right away, showing this isn't just market talk or knee-jerk reactions. It's a real signal of rising tension. The background to this move is tied straight to the Arctic. That icy island in the North Atlantic holds a significant share of the Western Hemisphere's rare earth minerals, estimated at more than 1/10 of the world's total reserves, the stuff that powers everything from smartphones to defense systems. Melting ice is opening new shipping routes, cutting thousands of miles off the Asia-Europe journey, and turning the area into a key strategic crossroads that every major power has its eye on. From the White House, the list of countries that could face these tariffs was made clear, including the nation that manages the island, along with several key partners in Northern and Western Europe. The planned tariff levels are high enough to choke already fragile trade after so many shocks, and Europe is signaling it's ready to hit back with measures that would limit American businesses' access to the common market. Experts who've looked into it say the fallout won't stop at the tariff numbers. Supply chains for cars, aviation, and tech could stretch to the breaking point. Fast rising costs would pass straight through to retail prices, hitting consumers and small businesses hard. In that light, it makes you wonder, when the economy gets used as a pressure tool, who pays the price first? In Brussels, EU leaders stressed that decisions belong to the local people, while in Paris, warnings about a chain reaction came with a careful but firm tone. Estimates put potential damage in the billions of dollars if the retaliation spiral grows, and the effects would spread beyond Europe, reaching ports and factories around the world. Online communities have lit up with debate. Some say it's just the usual tough negotiating tactic, loud at first, then it cools off. Others argue that putting tariffs on something so central to security and resources crosses a line. Where do we lean? Necessary pressure or dangerous spark? Genesis 11:4 tells the story of people banding together to build a tower reaching to the heavens, all to make a name for themselves, and it ended in confusion and scattering. They said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower, so we won't be scattered over the face of the earth." Ambition to control through collective power led to collapse, a pattern we see when interests get pushed too far. Isaiah 2:4 offers a clear contrast. He will judge between the nations. They will beat their swords into plowshares. When the economy turns into a sword, conflict rises. When it goes back to supporting life, tensions ease. That picture raises questions about the choices being made right now. Revelation 18:17 speaks of how quickly great wealth can vanish. For in 1 hour, such great riches came to nothing. It doesn't talk directly about tariffs or trade, but the warning about how fragile economic structures can be still rings loud, especially when big decisions get made on short notice. The doubts are fair. History is full of trade disputes, and not everyone turned into a crisis. Still, the global scale, the security ties, and the strategic location make this situation stand out, making the warning signs echo louder than before. So the picture shows that human-built empires remain vulnerable to ambition and chain reactions. If these tariffs really get turned on, could global supply chains fall like dominoes, kicking off a bigger economic storm that no one sees coming in time? European troops have landed in Greenland, ready to stand up to the U.S. and possibly sparking a world war. Things are getting tense by the hour. As military flights touch down on that far-off icy land, a feeling of worry is spreading fast, like someone just cracked open a dangerous door. Are we at the point where old alliances start to change colors? Greenland hasn't been just ice and quiet for a long time. The island holds a key U.S. military base way up north, with radar systems watching for missiles around the clock. It's about 700 miles from the capital, Nuuk. NATO has been around for over 70 years to protect each other, but right there, in that freezing spot, the first real cracks inside the alliance are showing up clearly. Some pictures have shocked people watching closely. Civilian planes were hired to fly in German soldiers landing on the icy runway, while British and French forces joined big exercises. Official statements talk about defense and helping allies, but so many European troops showing up in such a sensitive area tells a different story. Security experts are warning this points to a deeper break. When allies have to build shields against their own allies, trust in strategy gets badly worn down. Even if it doesn't turn into armed fighting, this standoff could easily shift into another kind of tough war, one over trade and controlling resources. In Washington, the response came quick. Sending more forces to the island shows suspicion has gone way past normal talk. Right in Congress, heated arguments broke out, with several lawmakers warning that any step too far could push the whole alliance into a crisis like nothing before. The effects of this tension don't stay just on military maps. When big powers start doubting each other, global supply chains get shaky, energy and food prices swing wildly, and everyday life for millions of families feels unsteady. The near future looks like more questions than answers. Matthew 24-7 paints a picture worth thinking about. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. When armies from countries that once stood side by side now face off on different sides, those words sound like an explanation for the chaos taking shape. Daniel 2:41-43 talks about a kingdom that's partly strong and partly weak, like iron mixed with clay. Just as you saw the feet and toes partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, so this kingdom will be divided. That image fits perfectly. A structure that looks solid on the outside, but has lost its real bond inside, just waiting for a big enough shake. A lot of folks say this is only routine military training, and NATO has gotten through disagreements before. But analysts point out the big difference. This one ties straight to land and resources, things that can push decisions beyond calm thinking. Revelation 16:16 mentions kings of the earth gathering at a key moment. They gathered the kings together at the place that in Hebrew is called Armageddon. Not every event leads straight to the final end, but when tension, distrust, and military power all come together like this, it's a signal we can't ignore. Everything happening right now shows international relations have entered their most fragile stage in decades. If today's defensive shields turn into tomorrow's lines of confrontation, will the old order hold, or will something completely new rise up from these very cracks? The triple murder case that shocked everyone, darkness lurking in Florida. The chill that morning in Osceola County wasn't from the weather. It came from the heavy silence hanging over a quiet neighborhood that usually moves at a slow, easy pace. On the dew-covered grass, 3 bodies lay face down. No signs they fought back. No screams for help. No mess. Just the awful feeling that something terrible had been building quietly in the shadows. Osceola County sits right in the middle of Florida, about 20 miles south of Orlando, with around 400,000 people. It's a mix of rural areas and city edges, where small roads lead out to big highways, and the peacefulness often hides what's really going on underneath. For years, Florida has been seen as an easy spot for cross-border crime networks because it's so close to the Caribbean and has major ports like Miami and Tampa. CNN reported that all 3 victims were men, shot at close range with bullets right to the chest and head. Police called the scene eerily clean, no robbery signs, no struggle. The suspect, Kevin K2 Marlowe, 29 years old, was arrested later without putting up any fight, almost like he knew the moment was coming. A search of Marlowe's place in Gainesville, about 100 miles from Osceola, uncovered something even more chilling. Under the floor, investigators found a black notebook with 29 names written in it. 22 of them had been crossed out. When they checked the records, those names matched deaths that had been ruled accidents or listed as missing persons over the past 4 years. Records show Marlowe spent time operating and getting training in Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala, places well known for gang violence. Authorities suspect he's tied, directly or indirectly, to at least 43 killings, many of which were never connected before. We're seeing a picture come together now, piece by piece, only after enough people have died. What happened in Florida isn't just one isolated crime. It shows how violence can hide right in the middle of communities that seem perfectly safe, quiet, organized, and cold. When a death list is already written out, human lives turn into numbers, and fear creeps into everyday life in a very real way. Genesis 18:20 records God's heavy judgment. The Lord said to Abraham, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great and their sin so grievous. It's a cry rising not from one single wrong, but from many hidden evils piling up, just like those names quietly stacking in that black notebook." Psalm 64:2-3 exposes the nature of that darkness. "Hide me from the conspiracy of the wicked, from the plots of evildoers. They sharpen their tongues like swords and aim cruel words like deadly arrows." That crossed-out list is no different from arrows already fired, precise and without mercy. Ephesians 5:11 gives a clear warning. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. When evil comes to light, the Bible doesn't just offer comfort. It acts like an indictment, pointing straight at the corruption and silent complicity that let the darkness go on too long. Some say this is just a local case and shouldn't be given bigger meaning. But when the trail stretches over years and across countries, the line between local and global fades away. What's buried eventually comes up, and the price is usually human lives. The case in Osceola County is a cold reminder that darkness doesn't need noise to spread. As long as names are still left uncrossed and similar networks keep operating, the most haunting question isn't that this happened. It's how many more times it could happen in the very places we once thought were safe. The cartel network, a hidden empire, comes crashing down. The raids happened almost at the same time. Warehouse doors busted open, tunnels exposed, and names that seemed untouchable suddenly in handcuffs. In just a few hours, a secret empire that had lasted for years started falling apart. We're watching one of those rare moments when justice moves faster than the darkness. Florida's long coastline, about 1,350 miles, has long been seen as the main doorway for smuggling routes coming up from Mexico into the U.S. interior. Gainesville in North Florida and the Miami ports became key hubs for the CJNG cartel and the La Cruz de Sangre network. Reports say the whole system ran like a full business, with branches for money, logistics, protection, and even political cover. The investigation exploded when federal agents raided the home of Gainesville's mayor, Jonathan Reed. Under his house, they found a tunnel about 220 feet long, leading straight to a storage spot with 3.4 tons of drugs marked CJNG, plus records on human trafficking and a whole camera surveillance setup. Financial records showed Reed had sent at least $3 million to Kevin Marlowe, creating a direct link between local government and the cartel. The operation, called Operation Breakpoint, quickly spread out. 11 warehouses in Tampa, Jacksonville, and Miami got hit at the same time. Agents seized 113 guns, rescued 128 people who were being held, and arrested 74 suspects. Down in Naples, the beachfront villa of Miguel El Padre Zamora, the leader of La Cruz de Sangre, turned into a hotspot after a short shootout before he was taken alive. These cold, hard numbers show the cartel wasn't just a gang, it was a whole parallel system running alongside normal society. As layer after layer of protection gets peeled away, the question isn't whether they existed anymore. It's how deeply they've dug into everyday life that we still think is normal. Revelation 18:2 paints a picture we recognize. It has become a dwelling for demons and a haunt for every impure spirit, a haunt for every unclean bird. An empire built on violence and dirty money finally shows its true face, just like those hidden storage spots and tunnels getting exposed under the cover of power. Jeremiah 17:11 explains the nature of crooked wealth. Like a partridge that hatches eggs it did not lay, so are those who get rich by unjust means. In the middle of their lives, their riches will leave them, and in the end, they will be fools. The money laundered through banks, the clever bribes, they couldn't save the whole system from collapsing in the end. Romans 13:12 draws a clear line between darkness and light. So let us put aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. When these arrests happen out in the open, the Bible stops being a distant metaphor. It becomes the key to understanding why structures that looked so solid could fall apart so fast. Security experts call this a major tactical win. It cuts off an important branch of the cartel in Florida. From that view, the collapse came from better surveillance tech, good federal teamwork, and mistakes inside the criminal group. Some religious scholars see a bigger picture, where empires built on sin always carry the seeds of their own destruction and just wait for the right moment to be exposed. Both views exist side by side, one based on system analysis, the other on moral meaning and spiritual warnings. What do you think? Is this just a solid investigative success, or a sign that things hidden too long eventually have to pay the price? The exposure of the La Cruz de Sangre and CJNG networks shows no darkness is completely safe forever. With their operations already spreading into Georgia and Texas, the story doesn't end in Florida. If one hidden empire has fallen, are others quietly shaking right now, waiting for the next wave to bring them into the light? A complex, sophisticated corruption system hidden deep inside Florida cities. The documents were sent to the right agencies, followed the right procedures, and went to the right people in charge. But after that point, everything just stopped. No updates, no decisions, no progress. Have you ever wondered why the most serious cases so often disappear quietly like that? Florida runs on a layered justice system, divided by counties, with power spread out and a tight web of local banks all connected. Osceola and Gainesville are just two rare spots where the investigation spotlight actually hit. But behind them is a much bigger structure, where crime networks find their way through bribes and quiet deals. The papers seized in the raids paint a much darker picture than anyone first guessed. A front company called Ocean Trail Logistics laundered about $82 million through more than 400 legitimate shipments, hiding drugs inside food containers and building materials. The system ran for years without being touched, not because it was so clever, but because nobody wanted to touch it. The hit list they found had a double approval process, and 7 names still haven't been crossed off. An insider witness said death records were altered, investigations were deliberately dragged out, and key reports were forgotten in drawers. Money was broken into small amounts below the mandatory reporting limit, flowing through local banks like water soaking into sand. The heavy feeling doesn't just come from the facts. It's from the question hanging in the air. How many people knew, and how many chose not to know? When the truth can be held up with just one signature, justice starts feeling more fragile than ever. Online, the arguments are exploding. Some folks say it's only a few bad apples in the system, and we shouldn't lose faith in the whole thing because of that. Others push back hard, saying the real problem is the systematic cover-up, and staying silent for so long has turned wrong into normal. Some ask if exposing too much will make society more unstable, or if keeping quiet is the way to protect order. Others say any order built on hiding things is just a thin coat of paint. It'll peel off sooner or later. These debates show the real divide in the community. It's not about not having enough information. It's about how much truth people are willing to accept. Amos 5:12 lays it out plain. For I know how many are your transgressions, and how great are your sins. You who afflict the righteous, who take a bribe, and who turn aside the needy in the gate. Those words hit like a judgment on any system where money decides justice. Psalm 94:20 asks straight out, can wicked rulers be allied with you, those who frame injustice by statute? When the law gets twisted to serve hidden interests, the very structure meant to protect society becomes the tool that harms it, and silence stops being neutral. 2 Timothy 3:1-2 keeps showing what chaotic times look like. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty, for people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant. The Bible doesn't describe one specific case in detail, but it draws a familiar pattern of a society where personal gain pushes aside shared responsibility. Some skeptical voices say this kind of corruption exists everywhere, so we shouldn't make a big deal out of it. But when the same patterns keep showing up at different levels and in different places, it's no longer just an isolated thing. Those old warnings suddenly feel uncomfortably close. What got exposed in Florida isn't just the story of one state or one moment in time. It's a reminder that when silence becomes the habit, the darkness doesn't even need to hide anymore. And if what came out is only the tip of the iceberg, what's still being kept quiet in the places that have never been shown on? The chaos in 2026 looks a lot like a Bible picture that people guessed long ago, showing that God was right all along. When you put everything that's happened side by side, the loose pieces start fitting together into one big picture. From freezing Greenland to sunny Florida, from streets in Europe to US, seaports, none of these things stand alone. Borders and control are being tested, money and trade are used as weapons, old allies don't trust each other anymore. Crime hides behind a legal cover, and justice gets dragged out by hidden hands. Looking at the whole thing, does this really feel like just random chance to you? In Greenland, protests in Nuuk and Copenhagen show real worry about land and self-rule, while big powers' plans turn this key island into a major tension point. At the same time, tariff threats from Washington shake Brussels and Paris, making European leaders rethink what's best for them. When European troops show up in Greenland, the cracks in NATO start showing up clearly in Berlin and London, proving the alliance we once thought was rock solid isn't so solid anymore. This whole scene brings to mind the warning in Matthew 24:21-22. For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. The trouble isn't just politics. It's a sign of a much deeper time of testing. Across the Atlantic, a murder case in Osceola County uncovers a whole network of cartels running from Gainesville to Miami. Long tunnels, tons of drugs, money washed through local banks, and years of silence from the system show that violence and corruption aren't just one-off problems. When these hidden empires collapse, they expose something even heavier, people going along with it because of money and apathy. This lines up with Amos 5:12, where the Bible says straight out, "For I know how many are your transgressions, and how great are your sins, you who afflict the righteous, who take a bribe, and turn aside the needy in the gate." When laws get bent and truth gets buried, it's not just a local issue anymore. It's a sign of decay spreading far and wide. Looking back at those 6 things we've talked about, the real connection isn't places or politics. It's human nature. Greed, fear, and the hunger for control have pulled systems way off their original path. What's going on in 2026 shows a world stuck in constant strain. Every choice sets off a chain reaction, and every bit of silence carries meaning. This echoes the words in 2 Timothy 3:1-2. But understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty. For people will be lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant. The Bible picture isn't just about some distant future. It's shining a light right on what we're living through now. Still, the Bible doesn't leave us with only warnings. Right in the middle of the mess, there's a promise of something new. Revelation 21:1 gives a different view. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. The bigger picture doesn't end in ruin. It ends with things being set right again, where justice and hope come back. When we put 2026 into that bigger picture, the message gets clearer. These shakeups aren't just to scare us, they're meant to wake us up. They remind us not to put all our trust in shaky systems, but in something stronger than them. In a world full of trouble, faith becomes the steady point that helps us see past what's falling apart. The picture is already here, both in what's real and in Scripture. The only question left isn't whether the chaos will keep going, it's where each of us will choose to stand as the picture keeps coming together. Looking back over this whole journey, events that seemed scattered have come together into one clear stream. From geopolitical tension in Greenland, cracks between allies, to violence, cartels, and corruption being exposed in Florida, everything points to a world that's been running in a long state of unrest. It's not just separate incidents. It's a repeating pattern, power being challenged, morals wearing thin, and truth coming out in ways no one can ignore anymore. When you put this picture next to the bigger picture in the Bible, it's not strange at all. In Matthew 24:6-8, Jesus said plainly, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. But all these are the beginning of birth pains." What's happening isn't meant to scare us into panic. It's a warning that the world isn't standing on the solid ground we once thought. In the middle of all this, the call isn't to be afraid. It's to wake up. Ephesians 5:14 reminds us, "Wake up, O sleeper. Rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you." Being awake doesn't just mean spotting the signs of the times. It means looking at your own life and asking what's really at the center: power, money, or faith in the Lord. This is also a moment to slow down and pray, not out of fear about tomorrow, but asking to be guided and to hold on to faith in the middle of the mess. Philippians 4:6-7 puts it clearly, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds." That peace doesn't come from calm circumstances. It comes from a strong relationship with Him. If there's a prayer on your heart right now, a thought, or something weighing on you, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Even a short prayer or an honest line of reflection is enough to remind us we're not walking this road alone. Faith grows when we share it, and being awake spreads when someone has the courage to speak up. If these words touch you, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future reminders. Every share isn't just support. It's a way to let the light reach farther in a world full of shadows. Finally, thank you so much for staying with me until this moment. May the Lord give His peace to us and our families, guard our minds, protect us in every situation, and guide each step ahead. Amen.
The time now is 11:42. I'm Megan Fee back at the WKRN.com alert desk following some break.
Yeah, so I felt God speaking to me, and you know.
What's really going on with this world, when in just a short time, all the familiar order keeps collapsing right in front of us? The feeling of unease spreads faster than the news. Time feels squeezed short, and the future suddenly becomes a big question mark hanging there. From huge accidents in ice and snow, uprisings against control, stories from people who crossed the line between life and death, to massive explosions, strange sounds from the sky, odd things on the moon, glowing cloud swirls, hard to explain cloud formations, and shocking images from high up. 10 phenomena, coming one after another, not scattered, impossible to ignore. We'll keep going to face the answers, still waiting ahead for ourselves. If a prayer rises up in your heart, leave it in the comments as an act of faith in the middle of all this uncertainty. And now, we're going to start right with 1. Big pileup crash on Michigan Interstate. A huge chain reaction crash happened on Interstate 196 inches, Michigan, when a fierce snowstorm hit the Hudsonville area in Ottawa County. It turned that main highway into total chaos with no way out. News came in fast over just a few hours, and you could tell right away this wasn't just another traffic report. It was one of those moments when everything spins out of control. Michigan folks are used to tough winters, but that morning, the road was covered in ice and snow, and you could barely see a thing. On the stretch connecting Grand Rapids to nearby areas, cars and trucks started sliding, spinning, and slamming into each other in seconds. Hundreds of people, long-haul truck drivers, families on the road, got caught up in this freezing mess caused by nature gone wild. Matthew 24:7-8 talks about stuff like this in the world. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. From up above, drone footage showed a sight that takes your breath away. More than 100 vehicles, including over 30 big heavy trucks, piled up over several miles, with white smoke and cold vapor rising from the twisted metal. At least 9 to 12 people got hurt and were taken to nearby hospitals like Spectrum Health Zeeland Community Hospital. According to Fox News, the whiteout conditions dropped visibility to almost zero, so drivers couldn't react at all, turning about 5 miles of the highway into a real icy trap. Luke 21:11 describes times like these too. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven. Some say it's just an accident from extreme weather, something that happens every winter. But weather experts confirmed the snow amount and storm strength here were way above average for many years, showing how nature's getting more unstable. When things like this keep happening so often, they don't stay separate anymore. They start feeling like a quiet string of warnings. So this crash on the Michigan highway doesn't just show how fragile we are against nature. It also hints at something deeper, about the growing disorders spreading around. If this is only the start of a bigger chain of events, what's coming next is still unknown, and it makes us keep our eyes open. We can't look away. 2. The uprising against digital ID in London, seen as the awakening of young people. The scenes aren't some calm parade. It's a huge crowd surging through central London, flags and signs held high, chants echoing off the old buildings like waves crashing on rocks. People are packed in tight, moving fast, eyes intense. It's chaos tearing through the usual city order. Right in the middle of that flow, messages against digital ID are everywhere, spreading like wildfire. Handmade signs, loud group shouts, raised fists. It's real pressure on the government. You can feel the uneasy heartbeat of a generation scared they'll be tracked every step under the excuse of protection. The heart of this wave is around Broadcasting House, where young people are gathering to push back against the bill tied to kids' welfare and schools. Streets heading to Whitehall fill up fast. Traffic stops dead. Police put up soft barriers to avoid direct clashes, but tension keeps rising. Videos spreading online show shoving, police sirens cutting through chants, and a thick atmosphere full of conflict. Some see digital ID as the hard line for personal freedom. Others think it's a needed step to keep kids safe online. The clash of views turns the streets into a heated debate. The argument quickly grows bigger than the protest itself. Supporters stress safety, The tech can cut crime and help protect vulnerable people. Opponents warn about widespread surveillance, data misuse, and dangerous precedents for privacy. Both sides argue harder and harder, but they all claim to be protecting society's future. In all this, the Bible comes up a lot as a warning. Revelation 13:16-17 says, "It also forces all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name." Those old words echo in our digital age, making fears of total control feel even stronger. And it doesn't stop there. 2 Timothy 3:1-5 gets quoted too, like a mirror to today. In the last days, there will be terrible times when people chase self-interest, power, and pleasure, ignoring core values. These verses ring like an alarm bell amid the tech wave. In the end, even if the government tweaks or pauses the plan, the echo of this uprising still hangs over London. Tech keeps moving forward. The debate has no end in sight, and the warning rings clearer than ever. Waking up isn't just on the streets. It's in how we all choose humanity's future. 3. Billy Garaffa's story of meeting the Lord from the other side. It all happened so fast that the line between life and death just about disappeared. A body collapsed onto the cold ice, with a sharp thud echoing across the busy hockey rink. His heart stopped. Time froze. And we're left standing there, quietly facing how fragile life really is. One heartbeat can change everything. It took place in Florida during what seemed like a regular game. Billy Garaffa suddenly dropped right on the ice. His teammates were stunned. The crowd went silent, and the medical team rushed in, racing against the clock as every second brought the risk of something they couldn't undo. From the videos and reports that Fox News covered, Billy was clinically dead for 16 minutes. In that darkness, he says he didn't feel any fear at all. Instead, he was surrounded by bright light, a sweet smell, and a peace beyond words. He told how he met God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus, a moment that completely changed his faith. Those accounts got even stronger in later interviews and podcasts, when his wife Isabella shared what it was like to watch him come back to life, like a miracle, right in everyday life. Doctors and medical experts explain that lack of oxygen to the brain can cause powerful hallucinations. But they also admit science still can't fully explain the vivid, consistent feelings people have in near-death experiences like this. Looking at the Bible, Revelation 1-7 brings another layer of meaning. Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn because of him. Yes, amen. Those words sound like a reminder that what some people see isn't just for this temporary world. Then, Acts 2:17 says it clearly. In the last days, God says, "I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy, your young men will see visions, your old men will dream dreams." Near-death moments suddenly feel like pieces we can't ignore in a much bigger picture. Billy insists what he went through was more real than this life. Even with some doubts out there, his story has quietly woken up something deep in a lot of people. If one person can come back after crossing that final line, how many other quiet warnings might be happening all around us, waiting to be noticed before the door closes? 4. Iran freedom protest. Outside the BBC, the mood in central London heated up minute by minute. The area around Broadcasting House was blocked off. Police put up metal barriers. Helicopters circled overhead, and more people kept pouring in with loud, steady chants. Political pressure, media coverage, and raw community emotion all crashed together right in the heart of a city that's used to protests, but rarely this tense. Things on the streets escalated fast. Groups held up old Iranian flags, carried photos of victims, and shouted slogans calling for an end to the crackdown. The crowd filled the sidewalks and blocked nearby roads. Security forces had to split the people into sections to prevent clashes. In that chaotic scene, you could really feel the quick pulse of a crisis that's no longer contained inside one country's borders. Videos spreading on social media captured tense moments, like one person climbing onto the balcony of the diplomatic building and tearing down the Tehran regime's symbol, which set off a huge emotional roar from the crowd below. Other clips showed protesters facing police barriers, with sirens blaring non-stop, creating a heavy chain of tension for anyone watching live. According to reports from BBC and France 24, this event is part of a worldwide wave of protests against the violence and internet shutdowns in Iran, where the number of casualties from the street demonstrations has risen sharply in a short time. Some Western governments issued diplomatic warnings, while human rights groups kept pressing for international accountability. In the middle of all this, the Bible comes across like a calm but stern indictment. Matthew 24:6-7 says, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." Those words don't take sides, but they lay bare a repeating pattern in human history. Daniel 7:25 goes on like a further charge. It will speak words against the Most High, oppress the saints of the Most High, and intend to change the times and the law. When power and faith get twisted, conflict stops being an accident. It becomes the inevitable result. World opinion is sharply divided. One side sees this as a rightful call for freedom and human rights. The other side worries that getting involved will push geopolitical tensions out of control. Between those two views, where do you stand? Do you put stability and order first, or speak out against injustice? No matter how you look at it, what happened outside the BBC wasn't just another protest. It mirrors a world where nations are clashing more and more. And the question still hanging is, while this fire is still burning, where will the next flashpoint break out? 5. The horrific explosion at Beirut port. A blinding flash tore across the Beirut sky. Then a huge mushroom cloud rose straight up from the harbor. The shockwave swept through the city like an invisible hammer. The blast roared, windows shattered, buildings shook violently, and in just seconds, a busy city center was thrown into total chaos, with no way out. Beirut has always been the economic heart of Lebanon, with its port supporting millions of people and linking this small country to the world. But right there in the port, about 6 million pounds of ammonium nitrate had been left forgotten for years in a rundown warehouse. No real safety measures, no clear warnings. The whole city had been living with this massive danger without realizing it, until that quiet time bomb finally went off. Security camera footage and cell phone videos captured the moments before disaster. Smoke rising, a small fire, then a blinding white flash that swallowed everything. The explosion was so powerful, it was compared to an earthquake of about 3.3 on the Richter scale. The shockwave traveled miles, wrecking even neighborhoods deep in the city. Familiar streets turned into piles of rubble in an instant. Reports say 218 people lost their lives, more than 7,000 were injured, and around 300,000 lost their homes. Hospitals were overwhelmed, rescue teams dug through debris with bare hands, and people wandered among broken glass, searching for loved ones. In that moment, we had to face the cold truth about the cost of long-term carelessness and indifference. The Bible gives an early warning in Luke 21:11. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven. Those great signs don't just come from nature, they can explode from human mistakes too. Later investigations showed responsibilities spread around, paperwork delayed, and justice left hanging. Many officials were questioned, but no final judgments came, leaving deep anger simmering among the people. The disaster didn't end when the smoke cleared. It lives on in distrust and broken society. Revelation 16:18 describes, "Then there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and a severe earthquake. No earthquake like it has ever occurred since mankind has been on Earth. Reading those words again, the Beirut explosion feels less like a single accident and more like a wake-up call for a world playing with destruction. Some say it was just an industrial mishap from poor management, but that same weakness, happening over and over in cities and countries, is what's truly frightening. When people get used to risks and ignore the consequences, disaster is just waiting for the right moment. Beirut collapsed in one afternoon, leaving a lesson written in blood and tears. And the question still hangs in the air. If a bomb like that could sit for years in the middle of a city, what other place is quietly waiting its turn? 6. Mysterious sounds from the Tennessee sky. Folks stood still in their yards, in parking lots, out in the fields, heads tilted up at the clear blue sky, while a long, deep rumbling sound ripped through the quiet. Right then, you could feel the line between everyday normal and something strange getting broken wide open. Tennessee usually means wind moving through the hills, bugs chirping, and that slow, easy country life in America. But in Middle Tennessee, and then spreading over toward Oak Ridge and Knoxville, these odd noises started showing up. No heads up, no obvious cause. They weren't thunder, weren't airplanes, and definitely not any regular outdoor sound people know. Videos popped up fast on TikTok and Facebook, all with the same scene repeating. A metallic rumble rolls down from the sky, lasting around 30 seconds, sometimes low, sometimes climbing higher, sending dogs into a barking frenzy, birds scattering everywhere, and people just frozen in place. Plenty of clips from different angles, different days, but the sound stays almost identical. So it's not some one-off random thing. News from WKRN and big threads on Reddit say the same thing's been happening in East Tennessee too. Some folks call it a skyquake. Others say it reminds them of the horns in War of the Worlds. What stands out? No reports of military jets, no training drills, no strange weather matching the times it happens. Experts jumped in with the usual guesses. The American Meteor Society looked for fireballs, but there were no trails or paths to match. Some geologists brought up frostquakes, but the cold hasn't been nearly harsh enough. The science explanations come up, then the real evidence knocks them back. Right there in that dead-end spot, the Bible comes in, not to toss science aside, but to shine a different light. Joel 2:1 says, "Blow the trumpet in Zion. Sound the alarm on my holy mountain. Let all the people of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord is coming, it is near." In Scripture, sounds from the sky have never been everyday signals. Revelation 8:5 adds, "There were peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake." Science sees unexplained sound waves. The Bible sees a larger plan starting to move. Both ways of looking sit right there together. And the real question is, which one feels right to you? One thing's clear. This isn't rare anymore. It's showing up in other states across the country, keeps coming back, and keeps pushing against every final answer. The silence after each rumble doesn't bring peace. It just leaves a big empty space full of questions. If it's only some natural physical event, why does it keep hitting so many places, so often? And if it's a sign, what exactly is it getting folks ready for? When the sky starts talking, the issue isn't whether we hear it, it's whether we're truly listening. 7. Strange phenomenon on the moon. The silver light spreads evenly, calm and steady, with no ripples or changes, until something unusual slowly starts to show. In the middle of that peaceful scene, a sharp line appears, making the whole view look different, as if the normal order is being touched. That line doesn't stay still. It moves slowly across the moon's surface, giving the feeling of a slice sliding through the light. The motion doesn't look like cloud shadows or something flying by. It's steady and seems purposeful. Overall, it feels like we're seeing something that doesn't easily fit the usual explanations from old-school astronomy. Videos recorded from different places quickly spread on YouTube and Reddit. From the US to Europe, People watching through their own telescopes all noticed the same thing. The line shows up at one edge, moves toward the other side, then disappears. Some clips even show the bright surface shifting slightly, making it seem the moon isn't as completely still as we've always thought. It didn't stop with just one case. Similar things kept coming up. Some videos showed gentle waves spreading across the surface, like something underneath is moving. Others capture the moon's image looking offset, out of place, for a few short seconds. When you put all these observations together, the natural question comes up: what could cause changes like this happening at the same time? Faced with those images, doubt came up fast. Many said it's just digital zoom errors or tricks of the eye. But frame-by-frame checks show the movement happens steadily over time, not a single glitch. And with so many independent observers seeing the same thing, the simple explanations start to feel pretty weak. In that setting, the Bible suddenly comes to mind as an interesting reference. Joel 2:31 says, "The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes." That prophecy doesn't explain how, but it pictures the sky as a place where big signs will appear before a major turning point. Then Luke 21:25 adds, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity." When you place those ancient words next to today's images, the connection makes you stop and think, as if what was once spoken is starting to take shape. If the moon isn't completely silent anymore, those hard-to-understand movements might just be the beginning. We're looking at a mystery that doesn't have a full answer yet, and the question still hanging is, what will the next thing in the sky reveal? 8. Swiss sky with strange blue-green swirling clouds. The sky over Switzerland looked like something out of a dream, where the clouds didn't just drift along like normal. Instead, they twisted into one huge spiral. Right in the middle of that big swirl was a deep, round hole that gave off this soft blue-green glow, kind of cold-looking but hard to look away from. When you saw it, your eyes just got stuck there, like the sky was trying to tell us something we haven't figured out yet. The swirl didn't show up during a big storm or anything wild. The weather was pretty calm otherwise. The clouds rolled into a perfect spiral shape, giving it a real 3D feel, almost like a giant whirlpool, just hanging up in the air. That blue-green light in the center didn't flicker on and off. It spread out nice and even. The whole thing was beautiful, but it also felt a little unsettling, like something that shouldn't really be there in our everyday sky. From what folks shared on social media and in the news around the world, this got caught on camera from different spots all over Switzerland. Some pictures showed the swirling clouds covering almost the whole sky for a few minutes, making it feel like space itself was bending. That weird feeling naturally makes you wonder, if this is just weather, why does it look so perfect and have such an odd color? Some early explanations tied the blue-green light to things we've seen in Europe before, like leftover rocket fuel trails or effects from geomagnetic storms. But when you look closer at the shape and the timing, it doesn't quite match up. Reports say there wasn't any rocket launch right then, and the geomagnetic conditions weren't strong enough to make a clear vortex like this. Right where the science data meets this strange stuff, people start bringing up the Bible as a way to make sense of it. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be great earthquakes, and in various places famines and pestilences, and there will be terrors and great signs from heaven." It doesn't describe the exact shape, but it does point out that the sky will show some frightening signs. Then Revelation 4-5 adds more. "From the throne come flashes of lightning and rumblings and peals of thunder. Before the throne burn 7 torches of fire." That light coming from the center of the cloud swirl, when you put it next to this verse, makes you think of a light that's more than just normal physics, something with deeper meaning. Revelation 16:18 ramps it up. "There were flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and a great earthquake such as there had never been since man was on the earth." Reading these lines while looking at the warped clouds, the warning feels pretty clear, like the normal order of things is being shaken. If that swirling cloud with the blue-green light isn't just some random thing, then the question still hanging out there is, what other sights might the sky show us next? And where will the next sign show up? 9. A strange whirlwind reveals a mysterious object. In one quiet moment, when the sky seemed to freeze, a huge column of clouds appeared, stretching straight up from the ground like a vertical hallway connecting two worlds. No thunder, no wild wind, just a silence so deep it took your breath away. Seeing that, have you ever wondered why the sky sometimes chooses to speak by staying completely still? This isn't tied to one country. It's been seen in open areas around the world, from Canada to other sparsely populated places. Videos spread quickly on social media, showing the same tall, straight cloud structure that barely changes shape. That repetition makes people stop and watch longer, because it's nothing like the usual clouds that just drift sideways and fade away. In the shared clips, the cloud column moves slowly, almost like something is being lifted from inside it. There's no sign of strong swirling winds like a tornado, and no engine noise or airplane sound either. Some folks call it a cloud elevator, because it really feels like space is opening straight up, totally opposite from normal weather patterns. What would you think if you saw something moving against everything you've ever noticed in the sky? Scientific ideas came up fast: scud clouds, or maybe a gustnado under special conditions. But many watchers point out those usually come with strong winds and unstable air, none of which show up in these videos. The calm all around the cloud column makes a purely physical explanation feel a little weak, leaving room for deeper thoughts. Right in that open space, the Bible speaks like an old reminder. Matthew 24-30 says, "Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." The clouds aren't just background anymore. They become the way something promised long ago shows up. Acts 1-9-11 keeps the thought going. He was taken up before their very eyes, and a cloud hid him from their sight. This same Jesus will come back in the same way you have seen him go into heaven. When you put that next to a perfectly straight cloud column, the idea of a path between heaven and earth is hard to ignore. Revelation 1-7 finishes the chain with strong words. "Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him." If clouds were once the way he left, then seeing them in such an unusual shape today might be a quiet reminder that the old promise hasn't been forgotten. And if that cloud column really is a sign of what's coming, the question still hanging is, when the sky opens next time, where will it take us? 10. Picture of Jesus in the clouds over Bishop, California. One quiet moment in Bishop, the sky settled down, and the clouds slowly came together like they were arranged on purpose. They formed a shape that made a lot of folks stop and stare for a long time. In the soft, spreading light, a familiar outline appeared, clear enough to bring a sense of awe without needing any words. Have you ever felt like time just stopped so people could take it all in? Bishop, California, sits right next to the mighty Sierra Nevada mountains. It's used to clear skies and that special high desert light. But that day, the clouds weren't just background. They became the main thing everyone noticed. The picture spread fast on social media, way beyond the local area, and brought out all kinds of shared feelings from different groups of people. In the videos, the clouds looked like they were molded into a figure bowing in prayer, with the head surrounded by a soft glow, kind of like a halo. No sudden moves, no obvious digital tricks, just the clouds changing slowly in the sunlight. People who saw it described the same thing, a deep sense of peace spreading over them, something rare in these busy, noisy times. Matthew 24-30 says, "Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." When you put those words next to this cloud picture that looks so familiar, a lot of folks feel like the line between a symbol and something real gets pretty thin. Revelation 1-7 adds to it. "Behold, he is coming with clouds, and every eye will see him." Yes, amen. That Bible verse isn't just read as a prediction. It's like a mirror, making people think about their own hearts when they see what might be a holy sign. Of course, some explain it with science. It's pareidolia, where our brains see familiar shapes and random patterns. But what stops a lot of people isn't just the shape. It's how the same peaceful feeling hits strangers all at once. When something touches so many people beyond their own little world, pure logic and doubt don't seem to stay in charge. Acts 1:11 reminds us, this same Jesus will come back in the same way you saw him go into heaven. Those words ring out like confirmation that clouds have long been tied to big moments in Christian faith. Whether you see it as a real sign or just a rare natural thing, the image in Bishop leaves a lasting echo. It doesn't force belief on anyone, but quietly asks a question. When something like this shows up right in front of us, will we receive it with open eyes and hearts? Or just walk on by like we never saw it? When looking back at all 10 of those events we just went through, from the ground-shaking explosions, the mysterious sounds echoing across the sky, to the unusual cloud shapes that don't look like anything normal, a bigger picture slowly comes into view. Each one seems separate, happening in different places, but when you put them side by side, they flow together like pieces of a puzzle being fitted back into a story that was written a long, long time ago. The Bible mentions more than once that the last days won't come quietly. Luke 21:11 says, "There will be great earthquakes, famines, and plagues in many places, and terrifying things, and great signs from heaven." When you line that up with what we've actually seen, from the earth to the sky, it's not hard to recognize a familiar rhythm of warnings and wake-up calls repeating again. Some signs make people afraid. Some images make the heart grow quiet, and others spark hope. Matthew 24:30 puts it plainly. "Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." No matter how you explain these things, they still put us face to face with a question we can't avoid. Where is our faith headed? In a world that's shaking so much, what's being asked of us isn't panic, it's to stay awake. Revelation 3:3 reminds us, "Remember therefore what you have received and heard, hold fast and repent." This is a time to slow down, make room for prayer, and put our trust in the Lord instead of in the fragile things people depend on. If any of what you've just seen has touched something deep in your thoughts or feelings, feel free to leave a short prayer or just a simple, honest thought in the comments. Those words aren't just interaction. They're a way for many hearts to turn toward the same faith, quietly holding each other up. To not miss any future messages, you can show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Every share is a chance to carry the message farther, reaching people who need a reminder or some comfort right when they need it. Finally, a sincere thank you to everyone who's listened all the way to this moment. May the peace of the Lord cover you and your family, just as John 14:27 promises, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you." May every step you take be guided in light and hope. Amen.
What the?
Oh, okay.
Oh my God!
Oh! Yeah, that's
How much time does humanity have left before the sky closes up? Red fire tears across the horizon. The ground shakes hard under violent steps, and up above, strange signs keep showing up one after another, like alarm bells ringing from heaven. Chaos isn't far off in the future anymore. It's pouring into the present, forcing everything to move fast and uneasy. From wildfires spreading wide, lava flowing down streets, ancient rivers drying up completely, to weird lights and shapes in the sky, 10 events coming one right after another, like puzzle pieces that can't be turned back. The Bible once said signs would appear in the sky before the big moment comes, and now it feels like each scene is speaking for itself. Do you feel something strange too? If so, please leave a prayer down in the comments before we go deeper into this story. Now, come along with me. Let's look at the truth hidden behind these mysterious events. We'll start right away with the very first one. 1. An uncontrollable fire swallows Palomares, Concepcion, Biobío region, Chile. The fire came out of nowhere, ripping through the night in Palomares, Concepcion, in Chile's Biobío region. It spread so fast, it stopped everyday life in a heartbeat. The sky turned strange colors. The air got thick with smoke, and in just a few hours, everything normal turned into pure chaos. Watching those scenes feels like time itself is speeding up. Biobío is full of hills and thick forests, where strong winds blow down the slopes and turn into perfect paths for the fire to race along. Once the different spots joined together, the flames didn't stay put. They chased houses and roads, forcing whole neighborhoods to run for their lives in the dark. Official news reports say thousands of people had to leave their homes, grabbing whatever they could before the fire hit. Huge walls of flame shot up hundreds of feet, painting the sky a deep red-orange, like an endless sunset. Thick smoke blocked out everything, burned down more than 250 homes, took at least 18 lives, and sent around 20,000 people fleeing. According to the latest reports, roads got blocked, cars were left behind, and folks had no choice but to run on foot as the fire closed in right behind them. In the middle of all this, a lot of people thought of Joel 2:30. I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and columns of smoke. Those old words suddenly felt very real as huge smoke pillars rose up and the firelight glowed on the night clouds, like a warning written long ago. Some say it's just the result of tough weather, strong winds, and dry plants. But the size and speed of this fire went way beyond what anyone expected, so many folks can't see it as just another random disaster anymore. Revelation 8-7 talks about, the first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire, mixed with blood, and it was hurled down on the earth. A third of the earth was burned up. That picture gives a lot of people chills when they compare it to what's happening now. In Palomares, the fire didn't just burn trees, it burned away people's feeling of safety. This isn't just one news story anymore. It's like the first signal of bigger things coming, a wake-up bell ringing before what's next. And if this fire is only the beginning, what in the world is waiting when the ground starts spitting out lava? 2. Molten lava flooding the road. That morning in Hawaii started out tense, like a taut wire, with the ground trembling lightly and thick black smoke columns rising fast from the mountainside. The first flow of lava came without giving anyone time to get ready. Everything happened in a frantic rush, so fast that the footage could only capture the wild, unstoppable movement of nature gone out of control. Kilauea is one of the most active volcanic areas anywhere, where the underground structure is always unstable. When pressure builds up too much, lava bursts out as glowing red liquid, pouring down onto roads that are usually busy with cars. From the videos recorded, the lava reaches thousands of degrees Fahrenheit, flowing in long rivers for miles, completely blocking traffic and forcing people to abandon their vehicles and find a way out on foot. Thick black smoke covered the sky, blocking out the sunlight, while the road itself was melting right in front of everyone's eyes. Watching this wasn't just curiosity, it felt suffocating, as nature kept advancing foot by foot, never slowing down, never going around anything. You see cars left right in the middle of the road, not because they broke down, but because the lava got too close, making people choose between their stuff and their lives. In that scene, a lot of folks thought of Psalm 97:5. The mountains melt like wax before the Lord of all the earth. The picture of mountains melting that used to be just a symbol now looks very real in those bright red lava flows winding down the slopes, turning hard rock into liquid in an instant. Scientists say this is just normal geological activity for Hawaii, where volcanoes erupt pretty regularly. Still, what gives many people chills is how fast it's spreading and how big the impact is, way beyond what's usually seen in past eruptions. Micah 1-4 described it this way: "The mountains will melt under him. The